Hi, Jordan and Damian from Team KDS, and today we're going to be doing the upgrade on the tail assembly gears for the Agile 7.2. The first things you're going to need to install this upgrade are the gold rear tail gear upgrade, the white Delrin gear upgrade, which is going to replace this gear, and then it's another package, but I don't have it, and it has two of these red collars. You're only going to need one for this upgrade, so you're going to need three parts that you're going to need to purchase. You're going to need a 1.5 and a 2mm hex driver, some red and blue Loctite, and let's get started. So the first thing is we're going to undo our tail assembly. So we're going to take our 1.5mm hex driver and loosen these set screws on the collar, just like so. Now that's all loose. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen the pin from the white tail gear, just like so, and we're going to pull this out. You're not going to need this anymore since it's going to come with an upgraded pin, so we can put that to the side. The next thing you're going to want to do is take your 1.5 and loosen the two back screws on your tail case. And what that's going to do is let the bearing slide out. So what we're going to do is pull this back, pull this gear out. So we're going to put that to the side. The next thing we're going to do is we'll pull this little red collar out as well. Put that to the side. And then we're going to take our 2mm and loosen up the two screws and pull those off. You're going to want to take those completely out so it doesn't dent the case around the edges. So we're going to remove these two set screws from the gold crown gear. Pull this crown gear off. You won't be using this at all, so you can put that to the side. And then we're going to have this, which is the shaft. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out our new gold gear. And we're going to also reuse our old screws, and you want to use acetone or alcohol to remove the oil from the screws. So those already have an oil coating on those, which we're not going to strip, because we've got our brand new screws. We're going to take our other white plastic here. Now you're going to take out this pin that is used for this white gear. You'll notice that there's a little slot in the back, and that slot is where that pin is going to lock into. That's going to spin the tail. So we got our pin now. And these gears on a website can be very misconceiving. It looks like they're the same exact thing. They're not. So you're going to notice these teeth on the old gear are a lot thicker. And it's a lot smaller of a gear. The new gear is a little bit bigger, a lot finer teeth, more teeth. The old gear right here is a little bit taller, and it's a little bit smaller, and the teeth are a little bit different on this one compared to the new gear. So you do need to buy both of these gears to confirm that. And the old white gear, this has a pin that screws in that you tighten to lock it down to the shaft. On the new gear, there's a pin that's going to lock that you're going to pull through. So I'll show you that on the assembly of this. So let's put the old gear to the side. The first thing you're going to want to start with is you're going to pop this bearing out. If it doesn't come out easily, or you can't get it out, you're going to have to take some heat to this. So just take a lighter, something just to warm this up, just to get the Loctite or any of the bearing glue loose. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our red collar, this gear, and our pin. We're going to take the shaft right here, slip it through halfway, just until it's below the bearing. Take our new gear and slide it in. Then the next thing is you want to line up, make sure that, because there is two slots, you want to make sure that the flat spots line up on both sides. And you're going to want to push these together, make sure there's no slop. Then we're going to take our 2mm driver with our little set screw from before, and we are going to use a little bit of red Loctite on this part. So just on half of the screw, just a little bit of red Loctite. You don't want to do the whole screw and then wipe off the excess, just so it's in half the threads. If you have too much of the red Loctite, it will be very hard to remove next time. So push the gear and make sure you line up the flat spot and start screwing this set screw in until it touches, and back it off just a tad bit, and then make sure it fits snugly together and wiggle it just to make sure that you're not tightening it off of this flat spot. Now you're going to tighten that so till it stops, and then about just a little over 1/8 of a turn, no more. You don't want to do a quarter, so in between a quarter and 1/8 of a turn. So the next thing is we're going to go to the other side and apply some Loctite, some thread locker, some red, and we're going to put that on this just like before, halfway. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to tighten this down, just like so, till it stops, and then our turn. So now this is all set. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is take your red collar. Make sure as well, you're going to notice there's a lip. The lip of the red collar is going to touch the bearing. So make sure the flat side is facing that way. The lip is going to touch the bearing so that this is not rubbing. Then you're going to take your red collar, slip that on, take your white gear, slip that in, and now you're going to want to take this whole shaft assembly and slide it all the way through until it gets to the other side. This is a little bit hard to do. Got this. So just like so. So you're going to have the hole all the way on the other side, just like that. Then you're going to want to take your pin that was included and then put that through halfway, line it up with that little slot, and then take your bearing, pop that on the back, just like so. Snugly put this in. You're going to take a little bit of force to get this bearing in, so you're going to want to take your finger, hold around both sides of the case, and just make sure that bearing is nicely pressed in. The next thing that you're going to want to do is take the little end screws with some blue thread locker, and we're going to put some Loctite. And this one you can do the whole thread. Just wipe off the excess. We're going to screw this in. You want to use blue Loctite for the reason of these little screws can strip very easily. So you just want to do it till it stops in a very, very small turn. You don't want to tighten these down too tight. They're not going to come loose too easily. But obviously that thread locker is very important on these parts. So we're going to do the same on the other one. Screw it down till it stops, and then just a little bit of tightness. Then we've got these little collars right here. This little collar we have to tighten down still, but you want to take the grips and hold the case and pull it just like this, real nice and tight, and make sure that that little pin in there is seated properly, or else you'll have problems with your helicopter. You could have problems. So we're going to loosen this screw, and we're going to take some blue thread locker right here, put it on the screw, just like so, and then line up. You're going to want to push also this collar forward, just make sure that there's no slop. And then we're going to line up that flat spot in there, and then screw down the set screw, and then loosen it a little bit, and then rock it back and forth just to make sure you're on the set screw, and then push your driver forward just to make sure that you get that collar nice and tight against the bearing. And then we're tightening it, and then little turn until it stops. Same thing on the other side. If you have that lined up, you'll notice in there you can see the flat spot, no problem. So that will confirm that we are properly seated. Coat it with some blue thread locker. We're going to tighten this in, just like so. And then a little snug. So that one, these bolts, these little set screws on this collar are going to be the same as you did on here. So in between like an 1/8 and a 1/4 turn of tightness. So once it stops. So there you go. You got everything put together. Pull this back and forth. Make sure that you don't feel any like rocking. Pull this back and forth. Make sure there's no slop. And there you go. This is all perfect. It should spin very freely. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and have fun flying.